Hi everyone and welcome back to Star Trek Online. In this latest episode what I'm going to do is go over the duty officer system, which is mainly pretty much the main way that I make money in this game, or make energy credits in this game. There are other areas to do it. This is one of the best missions, by the way, Strike Against Fugitive Support Network. You don't get a tremendous amount of actual energy credits from it, but you get several useful things from it. The duty officer system as a whole, if you play it properly, can lead to a pretty big source of profit. A lot of the time, the main ways to make energy credits otherwise in the game tend to be very sort of grindy. You do missions and you sell whatever you earn from those missions. And there are some shortcuts which I will go into in other videos, but I think the vast majority of the energy credits I make tend to come from the duty officer system. You'll have noticed when I went through my stats there that I had pretty much maxed out all of my traits except for one, which is trading. So I'm just going through a lot of the missions just to check that I can trade, to get some decent trade missions. I'm going to deliver Dominion Fugitive to the Gamma Quadrant here. I think that one gets you Gamma Quadrant consumables. And Gamma Quadrant consumables are where you're going to make a lot of your cash at the end of the game. They help you level up your XP really easily, but the other thing they do is sell for quite a lot. It's I think shapeshifting lockets sell for somewhere around 20k on the exchange, and a critical hit on some missions can get you as much as 10 to 15 of them. And this is the secondary side that I do. I do a lot of sort of exchange programs and almost duty officer grinding, just trying to get more duty officers in. What I'm looking for are common, uncommon or rare duty officers with the critical traits on this, because what I'm aiming to do is convert some of my lower duty officers into purples. And obviously I'm going to choose greens on this one, because greens, when you get to the top level, have just no use whatsoever really. As far as going on missions go, I will expand a little bit later and show you something that you can do with greens which helps you make quite a bit of money. But if you look at my duty officer roster here, this is by no means the most impressive duty officer roster you'll ever see. There's still blues in there, but I'm pretty much exclusively on blues and purples, and now I'm at the stage of converting blues into purples, or at least trying to do so, unless the blues are seriously good. You'll notice some have the padlock symbol next to them. That means they're bound. Generally means you can't sell them on the exchange. Duty officers that aren't bound, and some of these missions do give you officers that aren't bound, which is really good. I think officer exchange ones aren't bound, and I think asylum missions aren't bound. If you do those missions, you can then sell your officer if you don't like it on the exchange, and purple duty officers sell for an awful lot of money. I'm just doing a contraband mission here. Now, contraband's an interesting thing in this game. You saw in the dilithium video that I did that you can trade contraband in for dilithium. This is one of the missions that you use to get it. And even if you don't want to trade it in for dilithium, say you're overflowing on dilithium for some reason, I mean I kind of am, so I'm not really that interested in getting dilithium at the moment. Contraband sells for about 40,000 energy credits a piece on the exchange, so a lot of the duty officer system is about grinding stuff which will sell on the exchange, or getting hold of good duty officers. As you can see, I'm just doing a mission here called Provide Sanctuary to Anti-Dominion Cardassian Agent. If I critical that mission, I will get a Cardassian officer for my ship, or Cardassian duty officer. The resettle colonist missions are kind of a loop. I'll come back to that one a little bit later. I'm just checking on how many colonists I have, and I'm pretty secure as far as officers go. Always check in every system that you're in, because every system's different for the missions it gives you. Always check with your department heads in every sector that you're in, because they will come up with missions that otherwise wouldn't be available. These missions in the science thing are huge. The reclaim artifacts from archaeological sites, they have different names You'll see one's reclaim artifacts, another one's recover artifacts here, and you'll notice that I have a pretty huge overflow of research lab scientists, and the reason is I generally like to have about 4 of these missions on the go at once. The reason for that being, on a normal success they give you several data samples, usually 20 or 30 data samples. On a critical success they can give you a load of particle traces, which can again be worth, you know, several 100,000 credits. And on a slightly rarer critical hit they can give you what are known as strange alien artifacts, and they sell for about 700,000 each. What I'm showing you here is one of the biggest rewarding missions in the game, deliver prototype to allies in the Gamma Quadrant. It's a bit fiddly to do because you need to hand over disruptor turret prototypes and all the other prototypes, but as you can see I critical hit the mission here and I got 100 Gamma Quadrant commodities and 4,000 dilithium from it. So that mission is, if you critical that mission, it's going to usually be worth well over 1 million energy credits. I've just decided to skip ahead here because there's nothing more for me in that system. I'm in one of the offside places here. I'm in the Zenith Expanse. First thing I'm going to do is do this scan for radiation sample mission. Reason for that being, radiation samples, which are the red energy data sample, they can sell decently in stacks of 250. So it's not really a bad mission. These missions I always do as well, the haggle for Gamma Quadrant commodities, so Tula berries. On a crit, you know, again you can get 10, which is worth like 50,000 probably, maybe a bit more. I'm not too sure what the current price of Tula berries is, but again it's a short mission which gets you quite a good return on it. But coming back to the mineral samples mission, they're short missions. Even if you only get the mineral sample, they'll sell in stacks of 250 on the exchange, and if you critical the mission you will get particle traces again. So it's a really good way to try and get as much cash as possible that way. You'll notice someone in the Doff Calls channel there has just mentioned NADOC. That stands for Negotiate Additional Delivery of Rare Commodities. It's one of the most sought after missions in the game because if you're successful when doing it, I believe it's a trade mission, if you're successful in doing it you'll get a strange alien artifact, and strange alien artifacts, again as I said, they trade for about 700,000 energy credits, and there are also other things that you can do with them which I'll be showing off later in the video. I'm kind of jumping around sectors here because I'm checking literally every sector. The best place for me has been so far the Cardassian area, so you're talking Beta Ursae, you're talking Alpha Triangulae I believe it is, and Zeta Andromeda. Those systems tend to be seriously good for duty officer missions because you get these haggle for Gamma Quadrant commodities missions, and you also get a lot of exchange officers as well. How that's going to change when the Romulan patch comes in, I have no idea, or when Legacy of Romulus comes in, I have no idea. I'm pretty sure there's going to be brand new missions. Deep Space Nine here has actually 3 areas which have different assignments available. It has the space place here, which is just in orbit of DS9. I really love this music that they did for DS9. Just checking all the science things out here. I'm still looking for those reclaim artifact missions. I'm not too sure how easy they're going to be. I keep looking under tactical because that's where Strike Against Fugitive Support Network appears, and also some of the espionage missions are seriously rewarding as well. If you're looking to grind experience, there are a few missions that you'd be interested in. Mainly these ones, you see how they're sort of yellow backgrounded on here. I think that might change in Legacy of Romulus, but they're backgrounded there. They generally tend to be very high experience style missions, so if you can do those they will help you grind up really quickly. I ended up going from level 3 in most things to capped out on experience with all of them very, very fast, just by concentrating exclusively on one trait at a time and just doing all the big missions on it. This is the interior of Deep Space Nine, where you'll get more missions, and I'm just heading round to the trader here. He's just sitting next to what I think's a replicator, and he offers me another haggle mission, so we will take that. However, you'll notice that this trader has a bad trait aggressive, and that's going to cause a potential disaster on that mission. So let's just see. Yeah, the blue officer is actually better under those circumstances, so I'm going to assign him. And I'll probably have to see what I can do with my aggressive trader there. I'm hoping that he comes up useful for something. Right, switching over to the Alpha Triangulate sector here. Have we got anything worthwhile? Again, what I'm looking for is contraband, Gamma Quadrant commodities and officers for the most part. There will be some other missions that I'll take that contribute to those missions, like if I have one which says secure a prototype, I will sometimes do that mission because that feeds very much into the deliver technology to Gamma Quadrant allies mission, which is where you can get a really big sort of really big hit to what you're doing. And because I need a quartermaster for this recover Jem'Hadar supply cache mission, I'm actually going to cancel my trade mission. I get my 9 Tula berries back, so there's no downside to doing it. And I'm going to do this recover Jem'Hadar supply cache mission. Again, it's Gamma Quadrant commodities that I'm going to get here, and just assign 2 of my quartermasters. Excellent. Big quality reward bonus and decent chance of critting, so let's cross our fingers for that one. So how are we doing here? We've got a few haggle missions, officer exchange programs, and yeah, so basically as you can see it's just looking for missions to grind me some money, and these missions, the best missions are always going to be negotiate additional delivery of rare commodities and exchange technology with Gamma Quadrant allies, although that one is under debate, the Gamma Quadrant allies one, because if you don't have the technology you can't do the mission, and if you want to buy the technology off the exchange, the rarer prototypes can tend to be very expensive, so it's really not what we're looking for under those circumstances. Anyway, let's have a look around. I do go to the Betreka Nebula there because what I'm looking for are support missions, and I just couldn't find any. So we're now in the Sirius system, having cleaned out Cardassian space, and we get a contraband mission immediately. I think if we crit that mission we get 5 contraband, which is obviously amazing. And the Question Facility 4028 Administrator mission there, big diplomatic mission. And we've got a secure heavy disruptor prototype here, so I'm just going to take that. I think I've got something like 6 of those at the moment, but I didn't know at the time how many I didn't know at the time how many I had. This trade for entertainment provisions mission, if you critical it, you can get a rare entertainment hologram. But unfortunately I've not got any of the critical traits on the asylum there, so the odds of me getting a purple officer out of it are incredibly low, so I'm actually going to move on to the Adani Sector block. And the reason I'm heading there is because our fleet starbase is there. There are also other areas I can go into. And let's have a peek. We have military offensives. If you crit those you can get prisoners. The Federation don't make a huge amount of use of common prisoners, to be fair. And here's the loop that I can tell you about. First one we got here is relocate colonists to Federation borders. You'll lose 5 colonists, but you get 500 dilithium for it. And the resettle colonists mission, that is to gain colonists. So as you can see, they're giving you a sort of loop to make a little bit of dilithium out of. And we've got another recover artifact mission here, so I've got 3 on the go now, so that's about where I want to be. And I have 2 more spots open, and I'm going to use my fleet spots for those, because when you have the fortune of being in a fleet you can grind fleet marks. And here we are back on the starbase. You'll recognise this from one of my earlier videos. Tribbles everywhere. I don't know if that's a default thing on these starbases, but definitely need to get the Hoover out, I think, for those. And you can do these reports. Now, what you need for these reports is every time you do a duty officer mission, or even a mission in general, a lot of the time you'll get experience in a certain thing, be it military or exploration, as you can see over there, and you cap out at 100,000. It's that's when you hit tier 4, which is the highest tier. However, you keep earning experience, and what you do with the extra experience is that you literally just shove them into these reports when you're part of a fleet, and you will get 75 fleet marks when you complete the mission. Although sometimes if you crit it, you will get 100 fleet marks on that time. Fleet marks can be used to complete fleet projects, which is always useful. So I've skipped ahead a bit because I've got a couple more missions that I wanted to show you. The first here is Instigate Defection. This is one of the ones that I'm looking for regarding espionage. On success, it will give me a duty officer from the other side. Debrief Prisoner, it's why I keep one Dominion rare prisoner around. You can get those off Strike, off Fugitive Support Network. Again, critical hit gives you contraband on that, and it's a big espionage thing. And this was what I'm looking for in all the off system, the support Betreka Nebula. And there are all the off sites around the game, like Delta Valanis and other places like that, will have a support mission once you've done a assignment chain in that area. And if you complete a support mission, you'll get a refugee, which you can use on an asylum mission or something like that. And if you critical it, you'll actually get a purple, and those purples can be pretty good, even though they're bound to you. You'll notice I had like 4 Vogue the Faithlesses when I was going through my officers, and they were all from support missions, but he's really good on things like Strike. So I'm on Earth at the moment, and what I'm doing here is I am going to grind some officers. Now, you can grind up and you can grind down. I don't really recommend grinding up. I'm grinding up here just for the sake of the video and showing it you, but it can be very expensive. I'm grinding 5 blues into a purple here, and this will give you 500 recruitment EXP, but it does cost you 5,000 dilithium to do that. So if it didn't cost dilithium, I'd recommend just grinding all your blues away, especially the ones you weren't using. But because it costs dilithium, I just don't think it's worthwhile doing it now. And as you can see, I didn't really get a great duty officer. The advantage of it being that he's not bound. So if I wanted to sell him, I could sell him on the exchange. However, the main thing you're going to do in this area is grind down. So I'm going to stop looking over this guy, and we are going to grind some officers down. Usually it's going to be uncommon officers that we do this to. First of all, I'll just show you the submit request for personnel. I would recommend doing this a lot, especially early in the game. This gets you a load of common duty officers, and common duty officers are really good as far as fleet goes, because as you can see here in the fleet side, if we look at one of the projects that we're doing at the moment, it requires tactical duty officers, and these are always common duty officers. And it's led to the really weird spot on the exchange where sometimes common officers can go for more energy credits than uncommon officers. So what I'm going to do here is literally just stick an uncommon officer in this mission, and he will grind down into 3 common duty officers. And of course, you've probably figured that it works above. It's like a purple will grind into 3 blues, a blue will grind into 3 uncommons. So a purple eventually will grind into 27 common officers if you really want to do that. This is actually a really good way of getting rid of bound officers that you don't want anymore. There are limitations on some of the officers. I think special reward duty officers you can't grind down, but ones from support missions and things like that you can grind down. So that's often worth it, because certainly the medical common officers, I think they're currently going for about 90,000 credits each on the exchange. So if you know, Federation isn't into slave trading and all that, but apparently it is. And just one final thing that you can see here, on Earth you can see the cultural exchange. This is yet another way of getting free officers. I don't really want an Andorian or a Tellarite at the moment, but there's a Vulcan over here somewhere, so I'm going to go and speak to her, because yeah, I like Vulcan. Vulcans can be, you know, logical's a decent trait, and I just think that it might be worth, and I'll sell her if she's no good anyway, so it doesn't really matter one way or the other. However, there is always something new to show you guys. This is the last thing I'm going to show you, and welcome to Legacy of Romulus. This is the expansion, as you can tell by the new GUI, and I am actually on the inside of the Sathanas now. And once you get in here, you can actually speak to your duty officers. Now, instead of getting the normal missions, you can actually do special ones, but the first thing I want to show you about the Sathanas is check out what's happened here. Brand new thing, warp cores. I have a Mark 10 matter antimatter warp core which says I can go warp 10, but obviously my engines sort of override that, but I think that that'll be quite cool to see, and it just means that you don't have to have the Borg deflector all the time. Hopefully this is what it's going to mean. You don't have to have the Borg deflector all the time if you want to go past warp 10. Special engineering assignment there, huh? How about this prototype console? And this is where the strange alien artifacts come in. You'll see here I have a powered alien artifact. I will go through that later, how to do that. But what this mission does is that it fabricates Mark 12 consoles. It's one of the ways that you get Mark 12 consoles in the game. Mark 12 weapons are pretty easily available. They tend to come from either the reputation system or the fleet system, so they're quite easy to get hold of, but Mark 12 consoles are pretty difficult to get hold of. So if you really feel like gambling, and this will cost you quite a bit in terms of like money that you could put on the exchange, you can get yourself 5 officers that will max the critical opportunity of that mission. I hate this game already. You'll notice I've got a disaster here and the prisoner escaped. I've got incompetent security officers. But if you craft a really good Mark 12 console, they can be worth about 40 million energy credits on the exchange. So it really is just a case of gambling, because the maximum you can get is something like 24 or 25% to crit, and only a few of those critical hits are going to be decent anyway. So it's really up to you if you want to take that gamble. And you'll notice here, holodeck performance of Hamlet, you need 19 officers, so I think we'll leave that for the moment. However, if you decide to take on the holodeck performance of Hamlet, if you crit it, I think you get William Shakespeare as a purple duty officer. And the Klingons, I think get Wilhelm Shakespeare or something like that. I honestly don't know. Well, the final person we're going to visit is our lab tech, and he's got quite a few things that we can do. The first thing here is infuse alien artifact. Now, this requires a strange alien artifact and one of each particle trace. And what this will do is convert a strange alien artifact into a powered alien artifact, and it will put up the price. I think powered alien artifacts go for about 1.2 million. I don't know if anyone wants to correct me on that, but they are more expensive than strange alien artifacts, obviously. And one of the strange things about that mission is that it never fails. Even on disaster, you will get a powered alien artifact. You'll get injured officers, but you will get a powered artifact. The other things the science officer can do, he can do these analysis ones, physical analysis we're going on here. You just need 20 of the common data samples, and this is mainly for grinding science experience and getting the very occasional bit of dilithium. It's only a few hundred. The big one obviously is particle trace analysis, but that is very expensive, and it gives you 500 dilithium and about 1500 science experience, I think. But anyway, that's as far as I wanted to go as far as making cash off the duty officer system and making things off the duty officer system goes. Next time I'm going to be looking into Legacy of Romulus because it is out, so I think it's time that we look there. Thanks very much for watching, guys.